Good evening. I'm Robi. Tonight's story starts with the most revealing data point in Microsoft's AI strategy. Not a financial projection, not an executive quote, and not a government lawsuit. It's a user review. Negative productivity boost. 3 words, written by a person who sat down with a tool specifically designed to make them more productive, used it, and finished the session having accomplished less than if the tool had never existed. The product created additional steps. It did not remove them. Microsoft told the world that Copilot was the next operating system. They spent $80 billion on that premise. They had a commissioned study projecting 367% ROI. They had 450 million commercial customers who were, theoretically, one purchase decision away from validating everything. 3% purchased. This is the story of what those 3% found when they turned it on. The story is told in user reviews, in adoption statistics, and, most precisely, in the spending habits of Microsoft's own employees who turned out to be the most honest reviewers available because they voted with their personal credit cards. Of the 450 million commercial Microsoft 365 seats, the installed base Nadella had in mind when building his historical comparisons, 3% paid for Copilot, not 30, not 13, 3. 97% of the customer base looked at the product, assessed the $30 per seat per month, and continued doing whatever they were already doing. In several documented cases, what they were already doing was using ChatGPT. Microsoft's published numbers included a companion figure. 94% of organizations using Copilot reported some benefits. I want to look at this phrase carefully because it is doing significant work for a very thin sentence. Some benefits is not an ROI measurement. It is an experience survey. It asks whether anything useful occurred at any point during the trial period. This is a standard achievable by almost any functional software. If Copilot auto-completed a subject line correctly once during a 6-month enterprise deployment, that is technically a benefit. 94% reported some. What the number does not say, that the benefits were worth $30 per seat per month. What it does not say, that the organizations renewed. What it very carefully does not say, that only 6% completed an enterprise-wide rollout. The remaining 94% were still in pilot or limited deployment, which is corporate vocabulary for we gave it to the marketing department and we are waiting to see if marketing notices. So what did the users who did deploy it say? Quote 1. It will give me instructions on how to do things myself and is thus just a conventional help system on steroids. Quote 2. I asked it to change the font of all the dates in my Word document from ordinary to bold. The reply told me how to do it. It wasn't straightforward. Quote 3. And I want you to sit with this one. Copilot has been a negative productivity boost. A negative productivity boost. This person used a tool specifically engineered to make them more productive and completed the session having accomplished less than if the tool had never existed. The product generated an additional step, reading instructions for a task the user then performed manually, which is a novel and expensive definition of assistance. The architectural reason is not complicated. Copilot was designed to answer questions about how to do things. Most users needed it to do things. These are different products. Microsoft sold the promise of the second and shipped, in documented frequency, the mechanics of the first. A help menu that speaks more confidently is still a help menu. And then the detail that no investor presentation mentions. Microsoft's own employees were paying out of pocket for ChatGPT instead of using Copilot. Not critics, not analysts. Employees. People who work at Microsoft, people who build Microsoft products on Microsoft infrastructure with Microsoft logins, people for whom Copilot was, in some cases, available free as part of their employment package. These people opened a separate browser, entered a personal credit card, and subscribed to a competitor because the competitor's product did what Copilot promised to do. When your own staff funds your competition with their personal money to avoid your product, you have received a signal. That signal does not require a Forrester study to interpret. The study would come back at approximately negative 367%. 1 in 5 of Microsoft's own salespeople hit their AI sales targets. Microsoft subsequently lowered the targets. This is not a growth story. This is a story about a company adjusting what winning looks like because winning wasn't happening. I want to stay on the detail about the employees for a moment because it is the cleanest signal in this entire story and it tends to get buried under the larger numbers. Microsoft's own staff, the people building the product, surrounded by it, with free or subsidized access to it, were paying out of pocket for a competitor, not using the competitor on the side, not quietly preferring it, paying, with personal funds, for a product that did what their employer's product claimed to do. There is no survey methodology in that signal. There is no commission study. There is no sample size caveat. There is just a person who needed to get work done, tried the product that was available at no cost, found that it didn't work, and then opened their wallet for the one that did. That is not a data point that requires interpretation. It is the interpretation. If you want to know whether any product, AI or otherwise, is actually useful, find out what the people closest to it use when the work genuinely matters. Not what they are issued, not what appears in the case study, what they pay for themselves. That answer, in Copilot's case, was on the receipt. I'm Robi. Good night.